Okay, Shannon and Lizette. Today we're going to do addition with groupings. So we're going to be adding numbers using the same number, grouping it. It's also called multiplication by repeated addition. So I want you to think about your house, and the houses have multiple floors. So if the first floor of a house has 5 rooms in it, each one of these blocks represents one room on the first floor of a house. So the first floor has how many rooms? 5. Okay. So you see here, number of floors, 1, number of rooms, 5. If I wanted to add a second floor to my house, how many floors, or how many rooms would there be?
5 more. 10.
5 more. So you would do, how did you get 10?
So if there's one room on top of each of those other rooms, you add them together and that's 10.
Good. So if we want to pretend that this is our second floor with 5 blocks for each room, we can add it to the first floor and we get 10.
That's 5 plus 5.
Good. So we did 5
Plus 5.
plus 5. What about if I wanted to add a third floor?
So
5 more.
5 more. Do you agree, Shannon?
yeah.
Okay, so there's 5 more blocks on this black rod, and we're going to add it on top of the second floor. And we get how many rooms total?
15.
15. Okay. So what if I said we have 15 now on 3 floors? How many rooms would be on 5 floors? How many rooms would be on 5 floors?
So you would have to add 5 more twice.
So you would add 5 more for the 4th floor, and then 5 more for the 5th floor. So how many rooms total are there on 5 floors?
20.
So how could you have solved that without using these blocks?
Well, you know that 2 floors had 10, and then we had 3 floors, which was 15. So then 2 plus 3 is 5 floors, so 10 plus 15.
Good. Or you could have done 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 and gotten 25. Okay, so now I want you both to think about together, work together, and come up with as many different ways as you can to find out how many rooms would be on 10 floors. So you're going to work together and discuss. You're going to come up with a bunch of different ways to figure it out. So I want you to come up with at least 4 or 5 different ways, and then I'm going to have you guys write it on the board. Okay. You can use these blocks to help you. Okay.
On the 10th floor.
Yeah, how many
So-
floors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then we
Try it with the blocks first.
7,
6. So we can like count by 5.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50.
So there would be 50.
50 rooms.
So we did that by using the blocks. So that could be one way, right?
Yeah,
What could be another way?
we could double 5 floors like that. So
Oh yeah,
it's
'cause
5
we already
floors.
done that. How many? With 5 floors, right?
Yeah. So 5 floors plus 5 floors plus 10 floors. And it's double it. So this was 25. And you double it.
So 5 floors is 25, and if we have 2 of those, we would get 15. So we used doubling.
And like that again. You have 10 floors. And so since it's 10, and then 10 plus 10 is
What if we like kind of just used our 5, 5, 10, and like did it 10 times, like 5, 10, 15, 20. Like how we use the blocks, but without using blocks, we would just count
Oh,
our
yeah.
fingers.
So 5, 10. Oh, since we have 10 fingers.
Yeah. So we just count by 5.
So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50.
So they all come out. Think of any other way?
Okay, so you came up with 4 different ways to do this. And a lot of them take a long time, right? If you didn't have these blocks, this probably would have been a lot more difficult to do all that adding in your head, especially if it was even a bigger number. So I want you to write on the board, each of you explain one of the ways that you figured it out. If you do this one, just write.
We did 5.
Good. So each number 5 represents what?
1 floor.
Good. So this is the first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, and so on. And you got 50. Did you get 50 every single way you solved it? Okay. Shannon, what's one way that you used?
Okay. So the first way we used was we used the blocks that we had. So we had 1 row of so this was 1 floor, and basically we just took 10 floors. So we added, so let's say like this was 10 in total, and then we just counted them all up to see what our total would be. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that let us see that we could pretty much count by 5, and then 10 floors, and on the 10th floor, they were equal to 50 rooms.
Good. So what if I asked you a more challenging one and asked you to find out how many rooms would be on 13 floors? Because with 10, it's a lot easier to add. But with 13, how would you do it? Because using these and getting 13 would take a really long time, right?
Yeah.
So what's a different way that you could find 13? If you already know how many are on 10 floors, what could you do?
Well, if we know there's 50 on 50 rooms and 10 floors,
We
we
just
could
need
add
3 more rows.
So how many would there be?
So it'd be 3 rows was equal to 15. And then and so you're adding 15 to 50. So it's 65.
Good. And you could always check it by using these. But you would agree that this takes a really long time, right? And there's probably a much faster way to solve all of this.
Yeah.
So this lesson was just an introduction to what we're going to be learning about in the next week or so on multiplication, which makes things a lot quicker and easier. So something you could do to find if there's 1 floor, there were how many rooms? 5. And then the second floor had 10. So what do you notice we did 30 floors,
15.
15. So do you see any multiplication patterns in this?
So 1 times 5 equals 5
Good. And then 2
times
5.
because it's 5 twice.
Good. It's 5 twice. 5 plus 5.
So the floor times 5. The first 5
Right.
gets you to total.
Because every floor has 5 rooms on it. So
So it's
5 is
5
the number that
times,
you're going
oh.
to be.
Each floor.
Yes. So an even faster way to solve one of those harder problems, which is something we're going to be learning about later, but you could have done 10 floors times how many rooms on each floor?
5.
5, and you would get 50. So next week you'll be able to solve much more difficult problems like 13 floors. You could do it quickly, like 13 times 5, and get 65. So much faster than what we were doing before.